My name is Patti Britton, and I live in Medford, Oregon. And I am a permanent makeup artist, and I have 3 children, and they're all grown up and gone. So that's me. Well, I love the water, so I would say some of my favorite things to do on the weekend would be jet skiing, quadding, hiking, bicycling, playing with my dog. She's pretty active. And I don't know, that's about it. Anything I can think of that would be fun with people. Well, negative things about my health have been going on for quite a while, actually. As far as intestinally and, candida, things like that have been going on for probably 17 years. As far as pain and health problems with my neck, it's kind of started out with my arm, my shoulder. I went to a doctor and orthopedic doctor, and went to a physical therapist thinking that there was something wrong with my shoulder. Just a couple months later, this was probably about 5 years ago, it sort of started. And a couple months later, I started noticing tingling down in my arm when I was working. I'd try to work on people and I would have tingling and pain in my arm. Well, when I'm at work, I am sitting in basically a dental chair. It's a well, I'm not sitting in the dental chair, I'm sitting in the chair beside it. And, my client is laying back, I'm leaning over them with my elbow on their chest, and I'm right close to their face, and I'm tattooing makeup on their face. But I pretty much work from 10 to 6, 4 days a week, pretty solid, and that's what I'm doing, is sitting and doing that. Before all this diet thing, I love my job. It's always been great, but the last year or two has been a pain. It's just been painful to work on people. Because typically they'll sit in front of me in a chair and I'll draw their eyebrows on first. And what I first started noticing was that I couldn't even hold up my arm. I was going like this to put on their eyebrows because, it just seems wrong. That's how we did it. That's the only way I could not have pain in my shoulder and have the tingling in my hand. My pain affected me at work. It hurt all the time while I was working. I worked, I still kept working, but I started finding that it just was harder and harder to work on people, the position that I was in and everything. Now it'll do it once in a while when I'm not eating the way I should eat. And then when I get back on it, then I don't really have that much anymore. The pain in my arm affected my work a lot. It got to be where as I was working, I was in pain all the time. It got to be where I couldn't just sit and watch TV or whatever. I was like up and moving constantly because I was hurting all the time. When I first started having the pain in my arm, they didn't really know what it was. They said, let's put a cortisone shot in your shoulder and see if that helps, which it didn't. Then they said, well, let's go to physical therapy and see if that helps. And it did help some because I was actually my posture is so bad. And so they were stretching out my shoulder and it was like, oh, that's better. So they're like, oh, that's what it was. Physical therapy made y'all better. But within months of that is when I started getting the tingling down my arm. Long term, what to expect, they didn't really give me an answer for that, honestly. A couple other things I tried was acupuncture, and that didn't make any difference. I've tried massage, which does help. It's temporary. It makes it calms the muscles down, but usually it would just come right back. Pretty much the next day, it would all be back. Some of my biggest fears and concerns when my pain was at its worst was definitely not being able to work. I'm single person and I have to, you know, have to work. There's nobody going to work for me. So that was really, really huge. Because there was no other career that's my only career. I don't have anything else that I know. So that was a huge fear of mine, was not being able to work. My doctors did recommend surgery, and I did actually have one surgery. The doctors recommended me to have a fusion first off on my neck. And I was so afraid of a fusion. My mother's been fused in her lower back. And anyways, I just was like, really? I don't want a fusion. So actually the doctor that I spoke to, the surgeon that I spoke to said, well, I don't know that I would want one either. And I don't know that I would actually do one at your age because you will only have problems later. So the surgeon even told me that. But he said, what I can do is go in and take off the herniated disc, and that should help it feel better. The percentage isn't as high as getting a fusion. When you get a fusion, you're going to be better. But so that's what he had recommended to do. And after I had the first hernia disc removed, a couple of months went by, and I thought I was getting better, and then I lifted something I shouldn't have lifted, I'm sure, and it just got all worse again. So after about 8 months after that, then he recommended the fusion again. And he said, you have no more choices. Here's an MRI, it shows it right on there, you need to have a fusion. When I first heard about Dr. Gala and the diet, and that you would be changing your food in order to make your pain go away, I'm like, what does that have anything to do with your neck? And actually I don't know how many people say that very thing to me. What do you mean you're going on a specific diet for neck pain? So it was really hard for me to connect it because it didn't make any sense. I know it makes my stomach issues calm down. That makes sense, you're eating. But you wouldn't expect that changing your diet would change pain in your body, especially something that they do an MRI on and they see it in the MRI. When I realized that food was changing things in my body and things that I thought would be just mechanical, I was really excited, number one, and shocked. But then I started realizing, well, it really does make sense that everything that we put in our body is going to affect absolutely everything in our body, physically, in every way. So once I realized that it was working, I was pretty excited about that, thinking that I could actually do something about it myself and change my health and get a result like less pain in my neck and not have to have surgery. The reason why I took that step to see Dr. Gala was because I had no more choices left. It was surgery or that. I had already tried massage. I did it tons of times. I already did, the acupuncture a bunch of times. There didn't seem like there was anything else left. And I knew that it wouldn't hurt me. It's only a diet, and I knew that I could be healthier. And one of my girlfriends had told me about it. And she was, it made so much sense anyways. So I thought, I know it could be hard, but I will just try it. My hesitations in making changes were really only that it was going to be a lot of time involved. I didn't really want to cut more things out of my diet because I already had cut dairy out and lots of sugar and gluten and stuff, and so I was kind of whining and stomping my feet thinking, oh, now I have to cut out more things, poor me. So that was probably my biggest hesitation, was that, and knowing that things like this take a lot of time, and I didn't really want to put that. I wanted to go play and work and stuff. I don't like cooking much. I noticed improvement when I started on this diet in 2 weeks. Drastic in 2 weeks, I noticed it. The improvements I noticed in 2 weeks were my pain was going away and I was happier. Was smiling more, and I felt like I wasn't like in drudgery all the time. I just felt better. My work improved because I wasn't hurting. It was just easier to work with people. It was easier to talk with people. It was easier to be friendly again, and you know, not be all consuming about my pain all the time. If I had to make the decision to go to Dr. Gala's program, I would have had surgery. And I would probably be recovering, and I would probably be more broke from that surgery, and probably still having a hard time physical therapy and getting back in it, you know, getting my body back to health again. My pain level before was probably 8. It would bounce from 6 to 8 lots of days. And I would say my pain level is between 3 and 4 now, usually. When I first started doing this, and it's been like 4 months or 5 months now, I can't even remember, 4 months maybe. When I first started to deviate, which I didn't in the first month, but when I first started to a little bit, my pain came right back. And it was kind of discouraging. But as time has gone on, and I've been, you know, I go through the main diet, and I just kind of change little things here and there, add little things and change them. I'm finding the things that don't hurt me. So, you know, like adding fruit isn't hurting me. It's not making me hurt. Where, you know, some things, like if I drink too much wine one weekend and have a bunch of sugar or something, which I don't even eat much sugar, but a little bit, it'll make the pain come back. The amount of difficulty in doing the diet itself is way easier than it was, for sure. It was a little time consuming and annoying for a bit, just to figure out how everything went and what am I gonna bring to lunch today, and oh, I don't have anything to eat, what am I gonna eat? But as you know, time has gone on over the last several months, it's really not hard at all. In fact, it's kind of easier, I'm finding. And you know, when I look in Dr. Gala's cookbook and I start making things out of there is such easy recipes. I'm like kind of surprised because I'm not much of a cook. I'm like, oh, I can make this. This is not that difficult. So I'm getting better and better at it. Sometimes going out with other people to restaurants is still hard for me. But I've learned just to keep my mouth shut and just not tell people why I'm doing what I'm doing unless they really want to know. And then it's not a big deal because everybody can eat whatever they want, right? Who cares? And there's food everywhere to eat. It's not like there's nothing to eat like I thought. Something that I've noticed that I can do now that I couldn't do before is sit longer, like, you know, with people, sitting and talking with people. I don't have to like jump up and move and all this kind of stuff like I used to have to do. I can ride my bike better because it's not, you know, leaning forward on your bike. It's not hurting me like that, like it used to. Just bending over, doing things, working in my garden is so much easier than it was. I think Dr. Gala's program has changed my outlook in that I feel like there's hope. I can control this. I don't have to wait on a surgeon to fix it for me and hope that it's going to be fixed by somebody else. Sometimes when my arm was hurting, well, my thumb is numb all the time, and there's pain that will go in my thumb and down into my hand and my wrist, and then I'll be numb right here, and then just shooting pain that goes down into my arm. And a lot of aching and pain that you can't really find. You're trying to find where the pain is, and you can't really find it, and it's kind of burning. It does it still sometimes, but it does it about half what it used to be. And it used to be pretty debilitating. You know, you really couldn't think of anything else. I mean, I can do things now and I don't really much think about it, just once in a while. So my doctor, my regular doctor that I go to, I told her that I was on this diet, and she looked over everything that I was on and the vitamins that I was on, and she agreed with it in every way, but she wanted me to add fruit. Clients or friends or family will notice that I'm feeling better, and they'll ask questions like, they'll notice that actually I haven't even lost pounds, but I must have lost something, because people say, oh, you look good, you've lost weight. I'm like, really? The scale says the same thing, but whatever. So somehow they're seeing something, and they do comment on, you look like you're feeling better, or, you know, what diet are you, did you go on a diet or something? You know, so those are the kind of comments I get. In the program, the most helpful thing to me, I would say, was encouragement from Dr. Gala. He's very encouraging, and I would go in there quite a few times and feel a little like it wasn't going to work, or that I was going to give up, and I always felt better when I left. The most difficult thing about doing this, I think, was going home and figuring out how to cook everything and how to, you know, make it all work, and not be able to eat sweets. That was very difficult. But I've just learned that the lemon bars take care of that. You think you really need sugar, but you just eat this little tart lemon bar and it takes care of the craving. It's amazing. If somebody was in my situation, I would want them to know that there are other things out there, and that we are in control of what we do, and that we don't have to answer, and we don't have to do everything that a doctor tells us to do just because they say that's what it's supposed to be. That we are empowered to be able to say, I don't think I like that, let's try something else. And there are way more things out there than just Western medicine. Well, at the end of the day, I can come home and go on a walk and go exercise, and I can sleep, where before I was having a very hard time sleeping. I wanted to go to bed because I couldn't, because everything hurt so much. But then I would go to bed and I couldn't sleep because everything hurt. So now I just can come home and do my stuff, do my fun things or whatever I'm going to do, and I can sleep. I've noticed health improvements in my intestine. My stomach is better. I kind of expected it to get worse, but it's not. That's better. Oh, and my headaches are almost always gone. Once in a while I have a little headache, but I had them every single day. And I didn't even realize it till about a month or so ago, and I went, my headaches are gone. My digestion's been a problem for a lot of years because I basically have candida from too many antibiotics that doctors had given me. And so my stomach just pretty much, most things I ate, but especially sugars and things like that, it would just get bloated and gassy and painful. And there would be times where I would just, out of nowhere, be doubled up, and I'd have to lay on the couch for the rest of the night because I'd be just have sharp, terrible pains in my stomach. And it's better. It's not perfect, but I think it's healing. I would describe Dr. Gala as a fun, friendly, happy, intelligent, kind, considerate person that cares about everybody that walks in his door. I would say to Dr. Gall, if he was here, thank you, and I appreciate so much all the support and encouragement that he's given me, because I need to be encouraged. We all need to be encouraged, and it kept me going, kept me realizing that I could do it. And positive attitude is really, really great.